Hello future parents, whoever told you that breastfeeding is a natural journey that does not require any preparation because it will come as the most natural thing that you're going to do in your life is lying to you. Breastfeeding requires a lot of effort from you and from your baby. So in this video we're going to see what are the best positions in order to prepare you to breastfeed your newborn baby in the first days of their life. Let's start. Welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we talk about breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is one of these things that is gonna change and evolve during its journey. It's gonna change according to what type of birth you had, according to the time of the day you're breastfeeding, according to the age of your baby, according to the preference of your baby. Therefore, you have to be ready to kind of flex with your baby and to see what is gonna work better for you and for your baby. Therefore, although in this video I'm going to explain you what are my 3 favorites position to use with a newborn baby, remember that you are you, and maybe something that works with a woman is not going to work for you, and so be ready to try and to accept that for you, for your baby, things might work a little bit differently, and that's absolutely fine. And maybe my position is gonna work today and it's not gonna work tomorrow. That's common as well, and there is nothing wrong with it. So just be ready to be flexible and flow with the breastfeeding journey. I find that a lot of parents put so many expectations on these tiny newborn babies, and unfortunately they don't know how to breastfeed. They're born with a instinct, the suction reflex, that is very strong, so they know how to suck. But that's all they know how to do. They need to be supported, they need to be taught how to latch properly to the breast. That's where your preparation comes in. Breastfeeding is natural as is riding a bicycle. You don't know how to ride a bicycle until you have someone that explains it to you, someone that is there to support you, ready to pick you up if you're about to fall. Breastfeeding works in the same way. You're gonna be the one that are gonna support your baby, and if you are not able to do so or you need help, that's absolutely fine. Breastfeeding does require support from qualified people that are able to help you and to support you during the journey. So before I go into the video and tell you my 3 favorite positions, I'm gonna introduce myself if you don't know me already. My name is Ilenia and I'm a midwife with a passion for education and empowerment during your pregnancy, birth and postpartum journey. So if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let's start with the positions. Whichever position you're gonna decide to do this feed, you have to be prepared for it. So make sure that before you pick up the baby, you have all your location ready. So whether it is in bed or in a chair, make sure you have loads of pillows close by, water, snacks, burp cloths, your phone if you need it, because you might need to stay in that position for up to an hour. You never know how long your baby is gonna feed for, so be prepared for it. I find that a lot of moms pick up the baby because maybe the baby is crying and baby is hungry and wants to feed, and then they're not ready and they're uncomfortable, and then their back is very sore the day after because they breastfed in a very uncomfortable position. So if you have the luxury to have someone to help you, get them to pick up the baby while you get ready. Otherwise, leave the baby cry even for 30 seconds more, but make sure that you're nice and prepared for it. Remember that it needs to be enjoyable. So if you are not comfortable, please try to change position. If the latch is sore, if your nipple is sore, if a part of your body is sore while you breastfeed, please make sure that you have a midwife that checks your latch while you're in the hospital or in the birth center. Make sure that you go home that you know for sure that the latch has been seen and it's correct. Even if you've done it before, even if it's your 3rd, 4th, 5th baby, please make sure that someone checks a full breastfeeding, because every baby is different and your breast is different and the type of birth that you have is different and the age of your baby is different. So please make sure that someone trained and qualified has a look at your feed at the breast. That being said, let's start with the first position, which is the cross cradle. I love the cross cradle for the first days of life, because babies really do need a lot of support, and you might be familiar with the cradle hold, which is the most normal, the most probably instinctive that you're gonna do. So you're just gonna pick up your baby and put it like that. However, this position works great once you've done a very good cross cradle latch, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean, or once the baby is a little bit older, because newborn babies need to be able to move their head back in order to correct their latch. And if you have your arm kind of holding the head in place, that they're not going to be able to do that, and it might result in a wrong latch that will result into a sore nipple the day after. So with the cross cradle, instead, what we do is we put the baby under, like on top of your arm, on your forearm, and you support the weight of the baby with your forearm. That's where the pillows come into play, because you can use a pillow to support the weight, especially if it's a big baby or if you're gonna stay in this position for a long time. So make sure that you put all the weight of the baby on your forearm, and then you put your hand like a C around the baby's neck. Very important, don't do that with the head of the baby. Don't force the head of the baby on the breast. Just support their neck. Make sure that the ear, the shoulder, and the hip are in line. This is a rule that works for whichever position you're gonna decide. Make sure that the baby is not like twisted like that with the tummy on the ceiling. Baby needs to be tucked in with tummy against your tummy. This is because imagine when you have a drink, like you would never drink in this way, like sideways with your chest in this direction and then your face in this direction. Same way, don't let your baby twist their neck and head towards your breast with their chest and the rest of the body into another direction. Always here, shoulder and hips align. Once you've done that, make sure that you put the feet down. The arms, now this is a tiny baby, obviously a term baby will be a little bit bigger than this, but make sure that the arms are not in their way. So babies are not as fragile as you might think. You can move them, you can touch them, you can adjust them. So put this arm under your breast just so it's not in the way, and don't be afraid to move this hand, especially if it's in the way with the latch. Once you have reached a very comfortable position, what you have to do is wait for baby to open their mouth widely, and don't point the nipple towards the mouth. Make sure that the nipple is towards the nose. This is because you might think the babies just latch like this, but in the truth is that the babies actually anchor their chin at the bottom of the breast, and then they open like that. So if the baby is in front of the nipple, that is not going to be able to have a proper and deep latch. So by pointing the nipple towards the nose, then you leave enough room for the baby to have a proper and deep latch. Once baby is nice and latched, you should not be able to see, or maybe just to see a very top tip of the areola, which is the brown area. So a lot of the areola needs to be inside of the baby's mouth. This is where you have to help your baby. So never go towards your baby with your breast. Let the baby come to your breast, that's for sure. But at the same time, help your baby to have a proper latch in this way by holding the breast like you would like a sandwich or a hamburger. Make sure that you are able to shape the nipple in order for baby to have a proper seal and a proper latch. Once you've done that, stay in this position for a few seconds. Make sure that the baby has a proper latch and is staying. Then you can go into the cradle hold, just once you are sure that baby is latched properly. Otherwise, you can even remain in this position for the full feed to make sure that the airway is clear and that baby maintains a good latch throughout the feed, and it doesn't kind of lose the latch and goes shallow instead. The second position that I'm going to explain you in this video is called the rugby hold or the football hold, depends where you are. This works very good if you have large breasts, for example, or if you had twins, or if you had a cesarean birth, because it really allows you to visualize the airways of the baby clearly. It's basically the same way as the cross cradle, so you support the weight of the baby with the forearm and the hand around the neck of the baby, but you just shift the baby to this side. So instead of latching baby to the left breast, if you have the baby with the right arm, you support the baby with the right arm, and baby's gonna latch to the right breast. Here again, a pillow comes into place. You can just tuck your baby in with a pillow to support the weight, and the same way you just latch the baby. So same principle, nipple to the nose, wait for baby to latch properly, and then you can leave the breast and just make sure that the baby keeps sucking throughout the feed. This is a great position if you're worried, for example, that the nose gets too squished into the breast in the other position. This is great. It's also great if you have a baby that is kind of used to latch only to one side. It's a really good way to trick them, because if you simply move from this position to this, then the baby will not even realize that actually is a different breast. And also is a very good way to change the part of your breast that has been drained, because I mean the breast is divided in 4 different quadrants or more, and according to where your baby is latched, then one of the part of the breast is going to be drained more. So it's very important that you move, that the baby moves during your feeds, because this will allow a proper and effective emptiness of the breast. The third position that we're going to see now is the side lying. This works fantastic, for example, if you are very tired after an intense labor, or if you have a lot of stitches that are hurting, so that you don't have to put a lot of pressure on your perineum, or in general if you just want to rest while you feed during the night. Now, very important that you don't fall asleep in this position, but it is a great position if you want to rest and snooze a little bit. Now, consists in simply laying on one side. Again, make sure that you have a lot of pillows close by. You can put one behind the baby's back, for example. Newborn babies are not gonna roll over, but it's great for support a little bit. And in the same way, you just tuck the baby to your tummy with your tummy, support the chin at the beginning, and hold your breast for the first latch. Make sure the baby latches properly, and then you can even rest a little bit down while your baby feeds. I really find it very comfortable for who has a lot of pain in the perineal area or simply wants to rest, and I find it really good for moms who are learning to breastfeed, because you don't have to hold too much your baby. Baby's kind of supported by the bed anyway, so you have more hands and more ways to control your breast with the latch. So definitely something to try on. To conclude, I just want to say that if something is not right, if you feel pain, if it's not a pleasant sensation, make sure that someone has a look at your feed. Make sure that you don't leave the hospital or the birth center without anyone who has looked and supervised a feed, because that is going to really impact your breastfeeding journey. If you have not done so already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!